I remember the day like it was carved into my soul forever. The sun poured through the curtains and danced on the floor, but the warmth felt like a cruel joke. My sister lay motionless on the bed, the life that had always shone through her eyes, swallowed by darkness. I had begged for a miracle, pleaded for something to pull her back, and when it didn't come, I felt something break inside me. I screamed at the sky, I accused the heavens of betrayal, and I watched the world carry on as if nothing had happened. My breath came in ragged sobs, and I felt the gravity of grief pull me into a place I never wanted to go. The night I lost her was the first night I truly hated everything I thought was good and fair and just. Her laughter used to fill every corner of our home with light. She chased that light with curiosity and joy every day. I would follow her around, listening to the stories she spun about fairies and faraway lands. She believed in magic in a way that adults forget. I believed in it too when I was young, but as the years stacked up, I learned to trade wonder for pragmatism. I learned that wishes don't always come true, and that bad things happen for no reason. But her death cut deeper than any lesson life had taught me. I couldn't find meaning in the pain. All I saw was a void where she used to be a voice that would never speak again. I remembered the Sunday mornings when we would all pile into the car and drive to the little church with the stained glass windows. She would tug on my sleeve and whisper about the colors glowing like jewels. I liked the way the choir sounded when their music echoed against the walls. I liked the feeling of unity when hands clasped together around me. For a moment the world felt right, but now every hymn felt like a lie and every prayer a mockery. I turned my back on everything I once held sacred. I stopped going to church. I refused to pray. I let anger take the place of faith. I sat in my bedroom surrounded by the memories of a life I could no longer bear. Photographs of her smiling back at me felt like daggers. I tossed them in the corner until the stack collapsed. Each picture was a reminder of what I had lost and a testament to my helplessness. I clenched my fists until my nails dug into my palms. I would never forgive myself for not saving her. The pain was relentless and I was drowning in it. In the days that followed, I drifted through my life in a fog. I ate without tasting, moved without purpose. Friends reached out, but I could only push them away. Their words sounded empty and hollow. They told me to hold on to the memories to celebrate her life. They told me it would get easier over time. They meant well, but I couldn't hear them. Their well wishes buzzed around my head like annoying flies I couldn't swat away. I was trapped in a darkness that no light could reach. Then one afternoon I found myself drawn back to the church. I didn't know why. I didn't believe in the answers it offered. I only knew I was tired of staring at the ceiling in my room. I opened the door and stepped inside. The hush enveloped me. The scent of old wood and candle wax filled the air. I sat in a pew near the back and sank down. I shut my eyes and let the silence seep into me. A woman approached me quietly. She must have been a friend of my sister's. She placed her hand on my shoulder and spoke my name softly. I looked at her face and saw tears in her eyes. She told me she had prayed for me every day. She told me she believed in a God who sees every tear and walks through every sorrow. Her words were simple, but they struck a chord deep inside me. I wanted to lash out, tell her to leave me alone, but I found myself listening. She invited me to sit with her for a while to light a candle for my sister. I hesitated, but followed her to the front of the church. I held the thin stick of wax and watched the flame flicker to life. I thought of my sister's radiant smile and how much I missed it. I let the flame burn down to the wax until a pool of melted wax formed on the stand. And in that moment I felt something shift inside me. A tiny crack in the wall I had built around my heart. I began to come back to the world in small ways. I spoke to my parents and let them hold me when I cried. I wrote down memories of my sister and let the tears fall onto the pages. I didn't go back to believing blindly, but I started to question whether my hatred had given me anything but more pain. I wondered if releasing my anger could bring peace. One evening, I walked into the woods behind our house and found the old treehouse, where we spent summers drawing pictures and sipping lemonade. The boards were weathered and the roof sagged, but it stood there waiting. I climbed the rickety ladder and sat on the wooden floor. I closed my eyes and felt the breeze carry the scent of pine. I spoke aloud for the first time since she died. I told my sister how much I missed her and how sorry I was for my hatred. I asked aloud if she could hear me. The forest held its breath around me, and I felt a presence, gentle and warm. It wasn't a voice I heard, but a feeling that moved through me. I opened my eyes and saw a single leaf drift down and land at my feet. I picked it up and traced the veins with my finger. It felt like a message, a promise that life continued beyond pain, and that love endures. I let the leaf fall back to the earth and stood up. I climbed down the ladder feeling lighter than I had in months. I returned to the church the next morning. I stayed until the service ended and then approached the pastor. I told him I had questions and doubts. I told him I didn't know if I could ever fully believe again. He listened without judgment. He told me he didn't expect me to have all the answers and that faith often grows in the fertile soil of questions. He invited me to join a group where people could share their stories, their doubts, and their hopes. I joined the group and found I was not alone in my doubts or my pain. I listened to others who had lost loved ones or walked through their own darkness. I shared my story and felt a weight lift from my chest. I learned that forgiveness is not about forgetting or excusing what happened, but about choosing to let go of hatred so that it no longer controls you. One Sunday, months after I first returned, I walked to the front of the church. My hands shook. As I gripped the railing, I knelt and closed my eyes. I spoke to God, or at least to something bigger than myself. I confessed my anger, my grief, my failures. I asked for the strength to forgive and to heal. I asked for my sister's memory to guide me rather than haunt me. I didn't feel a thunderclap or hear a voice, but I felt calm. A steady peace washed over me and settled in my chest. I stood up and walked back to my seat with a different heart. I still missed my sister every second of every day. Her absence was a wound that would never fully heal. But I found that I could live with the pain, rather than be consumed by it. I found that I could believe in a God who does not always shield us from sorrow, but who offers us the grace to endure it. Life carried on. I graduated from college and found work teaching children how to read. I told them stories and watched their eyes light up with wonder. I felt my sister in every giggle, in every question, in every spark of imagination. I lit a candle for her on the anniversary of her death and thanked her for teaching me that love outlasts suffering. I no longer hated God. I still had questions and doubts, and I carried scars of grief. But I learned that faith is not the absence of doubt. It is the choice to trust in something beyond yourself when your world feels like it is falling apart. I learned that love is stronger than death, and that memory can be a source of healing rather than pain. I learned that it is possible to hate God and then to forgive Him, or at least to forgive the idea of Him, and to find hope again. And I know now that wherever she is, my sister is smiling at me. She is the reason I returned to faith, and the reason I can face each day with courage. Her life was too short to be forgotten. Her light will shine in me forever.